Golden light floods the royal nursery as the newborn Princess Aurora is held by her parents. The king and queen beam with joy, their kingdom celebrating the arrival of the long-awaited heir. Suddenly, the grand hall doors burst open with a violent gust of cold, unnatural wind. A dark figure emerges, cloaked in shadows, her eyes burning with a deep, ancient resentment. The wicked fairy glides toward the cradle, her presence chilling the air of the festive room. She raises a gnarled hand, pointing a sharp, withered finger toward the innocent, sleeping infant. Her voice echoes like grinding stone, declaring a curse upon the child's 16th birthday. She vows that Aurora shall prick her finger on a spinning wheel and perish instantly. The court gasps in horror, the queen clutching the baby tightly against her trembling chest. A soft, shimmering light appears in the corner of the room, growing into a radiant form. The benevolent fairy steps forward, her wand glowing with a gentle, protective, and warm aura. She cannot undo the curse, but she weaves a new spell to soften the cruel fate. Instead of death, Aurora shall fall into a deep, magical slumber lasting for 100 years. The wicked fairy vanishes in a cloud of black smoke, leaving only a bitter, lingering scent. Years pass, and the king orders every spinning wheel in the kingdom to be destroyed immediately. The 16th birthday arrives, and the palace is filled with an uneasy, suffocating sense of tension. Aurora wanders through the labyrinthine corridors, drawn by an unseen, irresistible force toward the tower. She discovers a hidden, narrow staircase spiraling upward into the darkest reaches of the castle. Her fingers brush against the cold stone walls as she ascends into the dusty, forgotten attic. In the center of the room sits a spinning wheel, humming with a strange, hypnotic vibration. Aurora approaches the device, her eyes wide with curiosity, unaware of the impending, dark doom. She reaches out, her slender finger hovering inches from the sharp, rusted spindle of the wheel. The metal bites into her skin, a single drop of crimson blood blooming like a rose. A sharp gasp escapes her lips as the curse takes hold, pulling her into the abyss. She collapses onto the floor, her eyes closing as the heavy, magical sleep claims her soul. A sudden, unnatural silence descends upon the palace, silencing the birds and the bustling servants. The king drops his goblet, freezing mid-motion as the enchantment spreads through the royal halls. Every living soul in the kingdom stops, caught in a permanent, motionless state of deep rest. Outside, the sky turns a bruised purple, and the sun is obscured by thick, swirling clouds. From the earth, twisted vines erupt, growing at an impossible, rapid speed around the castle walls. Thorns, sharp as daggers, weave together to form an impenetrable, dark barrier against the world. The once vibrant palace is swallowed by the encroaching forest, hidden away from mortal sight. Dust settles on the grand tapestries, and the golden light fades into a dim, gray gloom. The fountain in the courtyard dries up, its stone statues covered in thick, creeping green moss. Time stands still within the walls, a century passing in the blink of a frozen eye. The kingdom becomes a mere legend, whispered by travelers who fear the cursed, silent woods. The thorns grow thicker, weaving a cage that no blade or fire can ever hope pierce. Inside the throne room, the king remains slumped on his throne, a statue of royal sorrow. The servants are frozen in the kitchen, their hands still holding plates that never hit floor. The castle stands as a dark, frozen monument to the fairy's malice and the kingdom's grief. Deep in the tower, Aurora lies on her bed, untouched by the decay of the years. She looks as if she might wake at any moment, a portrait of eternal, peaceful beauty. The air around her is still, charged with the remnants of the benevolent fairy's protective magic. Shadows dance across the stone floor, the only movement in a world devoid of living breath. The forest outside continues to expand, claiming the land and shielding the secret from prying eyes. No sound penetrates the thicket, save for the occasional, mournful howl of the wind outside. The castle waits in the darkness, a tomb of memories holding the princess in its grip. The story of the sleeping kingdom fades into the shadows of time, waiting for a savior. A brave prince rides through the dense, tangled forest, his sword drawn against the encroaching thorns. He hacks away at the vines, the magical barrier resisting his every strike with unnatural strength. With a final, powerful swing, the thorns part, revealing the ancient, moss-covered gates of the castle. He pushes the heavy doors open, stepping into the silent, dusty hall of the Forgotten Palace. The prince climbs the winding stairs, his heart pounding against the stillness of the cursed air. He reaches the tower room, his eyes widening as he beholds the beautiful, sleeping Princess Aurora. He kneels beside her, mesmerized by her peaceful expression, feeling the weight of the long century. Moved by love and courage, he leans down to press a gentle kiss upon her lips. The magic shatters like glass, a golden light erupting from the princess as she slowly awakens. The kingdom stirs, the servants blink, and the king awakens, the curse finally lifted forevermore. Sunlight floods the castle, the thorns wither away, and life returns to the once silent halls. The prince and princess embrace, their love restoring the kingdom to a future of eternal happiness. A century of silence hangs over the impenetrable, thorny forest surrounding the forgotten castle. A lone rider appears on the horizon, his silhouette sharp against the setting sun. The prince halts his horse before the wall of jagged, dark, and twisted briars. He draws his gleaming sword, the steel singing as it leaves the leather scabbard. With a powerful swing, he hacks at the enchanted thorns, which recoil and hiss. The prince pushes forward, his determination unwavering despite the magical resistance of the vines. He carves a narrow path through the dense, suffocating wall of ancient, cursed growth. The thorns snap and wither, retreating as if sensing the strength of his resolve. He steps into the castle courtyard, where time has stood perfectly still for decades. Dust motes dance in the stagnant air, illuminated by shafts of pale, filtered light. Statuesque guards stand frozen in their tracks, their faces locked in eternal, silent vigilance. The prince walks through the grand archway, his boots clicking on the cold stone floor. He passes a banquet table where wine remains poured and candles are burnt to stubs. The atmosphere is heavy with the weight of 100 years of undisturbed sleep. He ascends the grand staircase, his hand trailing along the ornate, dust-covered wooden banister. Every step echoes through the cavernous, hollow hall, announcing his arrival to the shadows. He reaches the heavy oak doors of the highest tower, pushing them open slowly. The hinges groan in protest, breaking the long silence of the lonely, forgotten chamber. Inside, the room is bathed in a soft, ethereal, and unnatural golden glow. In the center, a bed of velvet and silk holds a figure of timeless grace. Princess Aurora lies motionless, her skin pale and her expression one of peaceful dreaming. The prince approaches the bedside, his breath catching in his throat at her beauty. He kneels on the cold floor, his armor clinking softly in the quiet, sacred space. He gazes at her, feeling the immense weight of destiny pressing upon his shoulders. With trembling hands, he reaches out to brush a stray lock of hair aside. Her skin is cool to the touch, yet she seems to radiate a faint warmth. He leans closer, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped, frantic bird. The prince closes his eyes and presses his lips gently against her soft forehead. A spark of pure, white light ignites between them, blinding and sudden in intensity. The dark curse shatters like fragile glass, the sound echoing through the entire palace. Shadows flee from the corners of the room as the golden light intensifies rapidly. Aurora's eyelids flutter, the long lashes trembling as she slowly begins to wake. She draws a deep, ragged breath, the first in a century of magical stasis. Her eyes open, revealing deep, clear pools that reflect the prince's hopeful face. She looks around the room with wonder, disoriented by the sudden return of life. The prince smiles, his eyes brimming with tears of relief and profound, quiet joy. Aurora reaches out, her hand finding his, their fingers interlocking with gentle, firm pressure. Downstairs, the kingdom begins to stir, the silence replaced by a low, rhythmic hum. The guards blink, shaking off the fog of sleep that had claimed their senses. Servants awaken in the kitchens, the fires and the hearths roaring back to life. Birds begin to sing in the gardens, their songs piercing the morning air clearly. The thorns surrounding the castle wither away, turning into dust in the wind. Castle bells begin to ring, a joyous peal that travels across the waking land. The prince helps Aurora to her feet, supporting her as she finds her balance. They walk toward the balcony, stepping out into the warmth of the rising sun. The kingdom below is vibrant again, filled with the sounds of life and movement. They look out over the horizon, a new future unfolding before their very eyes. The couple embraces, their love signaling the end of the long, dark, cursed era. Hope returns to the hearts of the people, blooming like flowers in the spring. The long dormant life of the land is restored, promising happiness for all forevermore. A gentle breeze sweeps through the castle, carrying the sweet scent of blooming jasmine. The royal banners unfurl, snapping proudly in the crisp, clean morning air. People in the village below look up, shielding their eyes from the brilliant, golden light. Laughter erupts from the courtyard as friends and families reunite after the long slumber. The prince and princess share a tender look, their bond forged in magic and time. The castle walls, once cold and gray, seem to glow with newfound vitality and warmth. Every corner of the kingdom pulses with the vibrant, rhythmic heartbeat of a new beginning. The wicked fairy's dark shadow fades completely, banished by the strength of true love. Aurora smiles, a radiant expression that mirrors the peace returning to her beloved home. The story concludes with a promise of eternal light, love, and joy across the land.